What's up, everybody? Today it's May 29th, and I want to talk about consignment. So I did a big consignment video last week, and I wanted to make it more kind of crisp and terse as opposed to going on an entire hour. So I'm going to try to put everything into about a 10-minute video on how we do consignment, business to business. And so let's just go ahead and get started. So why would any eBay seller out there want to do consignment? One, there is zero money up front that you have to basically shell out to take on this right here. So it's very low risk. The biggest thing when going after companies, because we do not do consignment, taking inventory from our friend John or Mary or Teresa, that is not scalable. But we will do consignment with businesses out there. So the biggest thing is, how do you bridge the gap so you can trust, or the business owner can trust you to basically take their inventory and market it online for them? Because some of the consignment inventory can be $10,000, $100,000, $300,000 worth of goods that you can list online for them. So step one would be basically a contract. So when I'm doing our sales pitch to these people right here, I actually show them data mine, and I show them the way that we track their inventory. We use custom label. So anything that comes from the consignor, I start custom label, custom SKU with the consignor's name. That way I can run real-time inventory reports for them. I can run real-time reports off revenue generating from them. Once they see that you have a very scalable software solution to track their product, the conversation becomes a lot easier. Next step, most important step of all, is once you start getting 3, 4, 10 consignors, it gets hard to track. So we create contracts for each consignor. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, what you're looking at is a consignment agreement. I just Googled this online. I didn't have a lawyer take a look at this. Our really big consignment contracts, I actually get generated from our legal staff here. Lately, it's been almost every other week I am dealing with our lawyer about something, because some of these companies I'm dealing with are pretty big, even up to $1 billion a year in revenue. So start out with a contract. And what I like to say is, I'm not trying to force a contract on them in any wrong reason at all. It's just basically laying out who's responsible for what. Ambiguity can kill you in business. I've done consignment where I did not document things very well. Relationship went south. I've recently got that relationship back, but because we didn't have systems in place and I didn't put contracts in place, it became really fuzzy on what we had when we sold it, and it made everybody really awkward. So start off right from the very beginning. So this is just a common contract saying I am picking up X inventory. We pay out once a month on the gross amount. So don't make things really complicated. Some people say I'll do 50% on profit or whatever. Just keep it super simple. What we like to start with is around 60% us, 40% them. If they say, whoa, you're taking more of the profit than it's my product, I'm like, after fees and shipping, it's more like 40% me, 60% you. And then that kind of bridges the gap in, okay, well, I'm getting more money out of this deal than you are. I feel comfortable enough signing this contract. So this is the contract we use. If you're interested, shoot me an email or put something out there on Facebook on the Data Mine group, and I'll forward you this standard contract that we created. I'll just remove our names. So step one, contract. Another huge reason why contracts are important is, let's say that you wanted to eventually retire and sell your business. Most people look at their eBay business as their, basically they're retired and this is what I want to do. But eventually you're going to get tired of selling online maybe. If you do, and you have 5, 10, 15, 20 consignment contracts, you now have a sellable business, which is huge. You can then go to another eBay seller who's playing the one-off game and say, look, I spend 0 time sourcing. Once a month, I call all my consignors and I schedule my pickups. And then you just pick up your inventory. There's no hunting. There's no any of that right there. And list it, sell it, ship it, send them a check. So it's super scalable. You can sell your business in the end of the game. Typical, when people say, what's my business worth? An eBay business, I would say, is worth, with contracts, 1 year's gross sales. So if you're doing $100,000 in gross sales, your business could be worth about $100,000, which could be great because that could really fund, or maybe you're slow to fund your 401k. This could be one thing to get really ahead of the game and get a whole bunch of contracts out there with the intent in 4 to 5 years, you know, that you want to sell it. And, you know, there's thousands of eBay sellers out there trying to get off the one-off game and would love a solution like this and probably would pay a premium for it, meaning more than a 1x multiplier of your gross revenue. Okay, so now let's get into how we track it. How we track it is how we bridge the gap on trust. Very important. So we have a consignment file for each of our customers. And what this looks at is month over month total sales, our percent paid to us, our percent paid to the consignor. This customer here is 50-50. We have an agreement to where I can sell things wholesale outside at the same margin, because some things I can sell wholesale almost the same price that I'm getting on eBay after fees. So the owners of the companies rely on my best judgment to get the most out of the product, which is pretty cool. So what I do is I say, you know, here's our sales, here's our cost of goods, which I owe them, here's the check. The first week of each month, I run these reports, and then I mail them the check. I email them this little fancy little graph right here, because 99% of the time, I'm not dealing with the business CEO or the owner. I'm dealing with an employee who manages inventory. And it's really cool that if you're showing this employee that before they were probably having to spend all this time managing this stuff. Now you're basically paying for their salary, hopefully. That's how I kind of perceive all this right here. And if you're help paying for that resource, that vendor's going to look at you as like, they're never going to leave you. These consignment deals can be super, super sticky, which is even better, because if you just land 2, 3, 4 a year, your revenue and your profits just keep compounding and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is how we track it. Let me go over it. Now, another way to track it is in data mine. This is how I get some of the numbers. So if you go to your eBay page, well, if you click on dashboard and click on report home, you get to this page here. And then there's an area in there called custom label for consignment. All you have to do is just type in a part of the consignor's name and click search, and it will show you their month over month revenue. So for this month here, we've done in May, so far, $892 in sales. If I click on the month itself, it will show me all of the revenue associated with it. So I would just add that up. I would put that into that Google file, and then I need to figure out how much I did also wholesale directly through PayPal. I would sum those up and then write them a check for 50% of that. So now let's take this a step back, and I deal typically with bigger companies, but let's say I didn't have that. Let's say I didn't have any of that, and I'm forcing myself to find this from scratch, just how most of you are watching this right here. When you're in stores, and let's say it's a candle shop, for example, and you're looking, always focus on discounted goods. If you see a whole line of product that's 75% off, there's a reason why it's 75% off. Whether the company is switching product lines, switching seasons, whatever. That is prime target stuff to pitch to the business owner. So what I would do, I would take out a notepad, I would write down all the SKUs of the candles or whatever it might be and what price that they are discounting it to. I would go back home, I would go on eBay or Amazon, I would see what those things are selling for at full MSRP. And then what that's going to do is say, if that owner, business owner, sold everything online, let's say his sales would have came up to $5,000, but at his discounted margin of 25%, he only sold it for $2,000. And that's when you say, hey, business owner, if you go with me through my business, I can help you double your money. That's what I always like to try to pitch. By you discounting it, I can double it. So you double your money, and it's not taking up shelf space. Shelf space can be just as important as the margin, the money, because they want to put in new season hot items that have a higher sales through rate. So when you're in stores, always look at the discounted products. Don't look at it from a, oh, let me try to turn this one thing from $1 to $19. Look at it in a much higher view and say, let me tally up all this discounted product. Let me see what it goes for online. Let me pitch back to the store and saying, hey, once a month, just keep this aside. I will come pick it up, inventory it for you, and write you checks on a monthly basis. So much different way of thinking about things. Anyone can do this. I wouldn't go up to your Targets and your big box like that. You only need like 4 or 5 mom and pop stores out there that are consistently trying to turn product to make a good living out there. So this is a much more of a scalable way. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Stop share. There we go. This is a much more of a scalable way out there to grow your business without having a bunch of inventories tied up. Right now, a year ago, our inventory was 100% owned by us. That's a big risk. And it makes me sometimes reluctant to go after big deals out there because, I might have to shell out 20, 30, 40, 50,000 bucks. I'm moving all my customers to consignment. The most important term you can talk to any business owner out there is saying, I will eat margin to have consistent process. Think about that. I want a consistent process of routinely picking up products weekly, monthly, whatever it might be, and you will take less margin because that partnership over the lifetime value of the customer is worth a lot more than this one-time hit. So be thinking about that. I hope this video was helpful. If just please send me a message. I would love for people to just go out there and just think like this. And I would love for someone to actually go out there and tally up discounted products at a store, go to the owner. Yes, it takes some grit to get in front of a business owner like that, but to really make it in this game, you got to have some grit. I'm sorry. It's just what it takes. I eat, breathe, sleep, live it. I love getting in front and pitching ideas to new business owners to help solve problems. So with that said, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you need that consignment contract, please comment below. We are potentially did a video yesterday on trying to get into the tech space and me doing like a small 3-month course on the very niche market of tech meaning hard drives, server parts, things like that. You don't have to have a tech background to sell tech. Don't let that confuse you. It's a much higher sales through and it's about 10x easier to list. And it has a much higher B2B ratio plus repeat customer base ratio. So that said, thank you for watching this video and I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.